way. The best offensive five-man unit in the NBA by offensive efficiency, better than 131 points per 100 possessions. And off and running in Dallas on a Wednesday night. Welcome back, Derek White, to the lineup, and he takes the first shot. A rough go of it since signing an extension in the offseason and finally back on the floor for the Spurs.
And a welcome addition to that young roster. And this Mavs team, you talked about how efficient they've been with this unit offensively. It's really been their impact defensively over the last 11 games or so that's led us. And there's something you don't see quite as much of. Porzingis with a post-up down low for the deuce.
Yeah, Rick Carlisle talked to us today about how inefficient the post-up is. Porzingis is relatively efficient compared to the league, but it's still not a three. The math doesn't work, so they don't do it very often. But Porzingis gets us on the board. Mavericks up 2-0. DeMar DeRozan doing what he's been doing now, and that's making things happen in the mid-range and near the rim.
And while it may not be considered efficient by league standards, DeRozan's been very efficient over the course of his career playing inside that three-point line.
This Dallas team, three-pointer-wise, got off to a miserable start shooting the ball and steadily has gotten better. Some of that is health. Some of that is just reverting to the mean. Some of that is some continuity with their lineups.
Yeah, I think all of the above, and I also think shot quality particularly better. And going along with everything else, the ball movement's getting better. Guys are stepping in the shots, and that's one guy in Cleveland I think they need to see him take a step. In order for this team to be considered a lead, I think they've got to get more production out of he and Fenton in that starting lineup.
Jakob Poeltl with the little floater. Everybody's got a floater now. Doesn't matter what size you are. You got to have a floater if you're playing in the NBA these days. And the Spurs with an early 2-point lead. Luka past Johnson, up and in. He's been so good. Games or so, nearly 32 points a game. And the three-point shooting, which was so bad early in the season, over 46% in that stretch.
And you saw there in the boxing one, though, the importance of spacing, because he's able to get all the way to the rim, in essence play one-on-one because of the reluctance to leave. And he just creates space, can't get that one to convert.
Spurs on the run, kind of a mid-range team in terms of pace. Take the mid-range from DeJounte Murray, who's on his second of the night. Center court. Wednesday night here on NBA TV. Glad you're with us. Spurs and the Mavericks separated by just one game in the standings as Jalen Brunson goes to the rim, and he's been.
I can tell you what, it's hard to imagine him not being in the Hall of Fame. No doubt in terms of his ability and impact on the game.
Porzingis puts it on the floor this time, up and in for Kristaps. Geographically, but in the standings with the Mavericks just a game behind San Antonio in the West. The 7th spot. Porzingis with the rebound and the putback.
Have such an impact. Even that play there, he allows Dallas to retrieve that rebound by being active, keeping the ball alive. And I think he can do so much more than what he's done because of an athletic act, which is kind of cool. So, yeah, I think that's awesome. You know, it's funny, when I first got these cards, our producer Bert Bondi sent them to me last week from Panini, and so I'm thinking it was actually from Panini. Bert was like, Greg, did you get those cards? We need to open those up on the air. And I was like, I gave those to my kids. I thought it was a gift. But he was gracious enough to get some new ones out.
Well, so good. That's nice. And so ultimately,
okay.
You got more free product out of this is really what happened.
Yeah, I did. They didn't send more shirts, though. I was a little.
And that's nothing in the NBA. Lots of cap room, which, as you know, is a double-edged sword.
Well, particularly for a team like San Antonio, right? You're not going to attract an A-list free agent typically, but you'd have to say, hey, when they signed LaMarcus Aldridge, in essence, he wasn't A-list. Re-signed DeMar DeRozan. We haven't heard a lot of talk about him. Also a free agent having a terrific season for the Spurs.
Drew Eubanks with. And San Antonio brings it back, leading by 2. They're now 5 of 8 from three-point range. And 4 of those, as you mentioned, have come off the bench so far. Here's Mills looking for another and gets it. Patty Mills.
Making waves either in the playoffs or knocking down the door. And I think that's great organization when you can rebuild but still have a chance to make the playoffs and get some experience for those young guys. Between the two organizations, I think the Dallas Mavericks as a team You know, they started off slow, especially Luka. But without Porzingis and all the health and protocol games that they missed, I think this team will start to get it going, and I think they'll have a chance better than the Spurs to be in the playoffs.
Well, in Dallas, you mentioned the health and issues in the first part of the season. Kristaps Porzingis was coming off surgery, so he was late to arrive. And all that included, Dallas had the second toughest schedule pre-All-Star break and has the second easiest one moving forward. They're in position to make a real move as they steadily improve throughout the year. San Antonio, on the other hand, second toughest schedule after the All-Star break.
Yeah, and you know, the other thing with Dallas, too,
Stones, GA, like Luka and Porzingis, that's attractive. The Dallas Mavericks organization, the city, so I think they have everything in their favor to be able to attract somebody to go along with those two cornerstones, because also the style of play, I mean, I would love.
And that's such a great point, Smitty, because as a defender, not that I could stop Steve Smith, but if I could make him turn his back to me in the half court, I eliminated some of the things he could do offensively. And that's an advantage that Luka has. He doesn't have to do that. Spurs in that the ball movement's really good. They take care of it. They take good shots. And they put a lot of pressure on you to have to play well to beat them.
Hey, G, the Muggsy, you know, you guys picked up 94 feet, no matter what. What would be different for some of these big guards? You know, not that they wouldn't be successful, but, you know, with the hand checking and with the forearm.
You know, not a typical 22-year-old, but boy, is he special and fun to watch. And right on cue, he shoots an air ball.
He's about 3 feet wide on that three-pointer.
Hey, GA, man, what I love about him is,
open or something.
Hey, GA, you know what I love about him? Other guys will be shaking their head like and wiping their hands. You know, I like the bat in GA, but I don't know if you get value back unless there's somebody that's out there that has the upside even better with the Luka Doncic. That'll be tough for me, and it's depending on what you're getting back.
Yeah, that to me, that's just it definitely wasn't a great decision.
Not at all. Rudy Gay was on the wing, and that's where as a vet you got to say, hey, young fella, make the easy play, and you might get it back. Jay, you know the whole thing on the 3-on-1, I throw it to you early, and you have to get it back because the defender.
Spurs lead at 50-45 as we get inside 3 minutes to go in the second quarter. Glad you're with us here on Center Court. Greg Anthony and Matt Weiner as DeMar DeRozan goes to work again and
you know, he makes the difficult look easy. His ability to score below that free throw line.
You mentioned his assisting, his playmaking lately as Kleba knocks down the three. His first make from outside the arc. He's got 5. Over the last 10 games, DeRozan has averaged 8.6 assists per, and has an assist to turnover ratio better than 5-1 as Gay knocks down his second three. DeRozan 8 of 9 as he takes that shot off the back rim. I know it. I never felt like I had that sort of power as an announcer, but Doncic and 1. Keldon Johnson handles over to DeJounte Murray. Doesn't really look for that three-point shot for the most part. Steps inside the line and front rims that.
And not a bad shot, but you saw there he had the three-point shot there. And I think that sometimes is where you look at the Spurs offense, and that's the area that they lack, because that offensive execution was perfect for that triple and reluctant to shoot it.
How about that crossover by Chris?
A-League pass.
Johnson hits a couple. Spurs back within 2. That was Kleba's 3rd personal foul. And I think to continue the point on Doncic, GA, I think we saw the difference in his body from his rookie year to his second season in the league as he knocks down a 3. His first make in 4 attempts tonight, given 13 on the night. And then from
that looked easier than the free throws.
Yeah, that's right. And coming out of the bubble in the short offseason, I think he and anybody else around the Mavericks would agree he did not come back in great shape.
Right, for a long time. And, you know, now granted, in Luka's case, you know, he does play. You know, he's not missing 20, 25 games a season. But that's the next level for a young player.
Spurs here so far 16-9. And that's where we land at 68 all. Glad you're with us here on this Center Court Wednesday night. on a regular night. What a great look and athletic. A rebound and an assist away from his 8th triple-double of the season. Tries to step back there. Porzingis with another offensive rebound. And Dallas gets 3 second-chance points out of it.
A little bit more efficient at the charity stripe.
And Dallas now plus 14 here in the quarter as they've built their biggest lead of the night at 75-68. Keldon Johnson met defensively. Good energy by Josh Richardson.
You can just see a different energy. I'm sorry, Matt, a different energy defensively here by Dallas.
Then his face back rims it, and Gay comes down with the rebound. His 5th of the night. Gay with 11 points off the bench for San Antonio. That bench so good in the first half. They're struggling to score here in the 3rd quarter with just 11 points. Keldon Johnson will try to change that and knocks down.
Keep that up here in this 3rd quarter now that Doncic is on the bench.
A great ball movement, but they couldn't finish as Porzingis found Brunson, and the layup by Finney-Smith just wouldn't fall for him. Under 5 minutes to go now in the 3rd quarter. Dallas hanging on to a 2-point lead. DeJounte Murray gives it up. Johnson inside. Strong finish from collection. Shop now at BleacherReportShop.com. Greg Anthony, who would you be if you were a Hollywood leading man in a blockbuster?
You know, and there are a lot of purists out there that don't like the impact of three-point shooting, but the irony of it is it's not like the three-pointer just got here.
No,
here since the 70s, and that's
of offense around the league. He noted Utah plays a little differently with their ball movement, but ultimately Utah's a heavy three-point shooting team as well.
Yeah, but they shoot them well. Like that's to me, the key is, can you be efficient with it? And just another
like players currently averaging 20 points or more, which would be the most in NBA history.
Yeah. And it's also more of those guys are perimeter oriented now as well, because of the impact of three-point shooting, but also, you know, the style of which teams are going to play, right? They get players to attack and create the opportunities, and then put the bigs out on the perimeter to kind of take the defensive-oriented big players away from the rim.
And one, and there's no telling what the Spurs' plans are for DeRozan moving forward, but
oh my goodness,
what a finish!
And great recognition by the Spurs.
It feels that way, and it feels a little unusual for a team that's ranked 13th in the league in pace of play. Doncic past Mills, he's torching Patty Mills, right? You know, you can try to keep defenders between him and the rim as much as possible. You can be disciplined with closeouts, but ultimately, at the end of the night, he's going to wind up with some numbers.
Yeah, and I think, and it's the same philosophy with any great player. You want to make them take the most difficult shots yet, but Patty Mills feeling pretty good about himself, unable to knock down that triple. And now with this second unit for the Spurs, Luka in the game, this is not quite as good a defensive unit. I want to see how they adjust to dealing with the Mavs in the half court.
Willie protocols, and basically they spent about a week in a Charlotte hotel because they couldn't get back to Texas because of all the snow and ice that was happening back home. 3-point.
That though is, you know, when you look at him as an offensive player, he's not a guy that is comfortable with his back to the basket. And then, you know, that's kind of the way he's learned how to play the game, as Mills finds the range there on that triple. And that's kind of how he was raised. You know, he's a 6'10", in essence, small forward that is going to space it on offense. You hope he gives you quality defensive effort and he can rebound in his position. And that's not necessarily always on the team. You know, when you are a shooter, you got to learn how to space and put yourself in positions where you're going to get more attempts. And play in home court in the first round. So there's still a lot to be determined, and especially in this season when there's been so much uncertainty, you just never know how this thing's going to all play out.
Just to remind NBA fans, is Porzingis.
Factor that in. We got a taste of it last year. You can see that they're going to change that call, give it to the Mavericks. Good effort there by Kleber to save that possession.
Porzingis got it. Kristaps Porzingis now.
Greatness of him too is, you know, he's won each way, right? He's won offensively and he's won defensively. I mean,
Porzingis,
a dominant team.
Can't finish. Porzingis uses that 7-3 frame to come down with his 14th rebound of the night.
And give Kleber again some kudos there, because he battled inside, contested that shot by Rudy Gay, didn't allow him to get the easy layup. And
Luke lead is back to 8, but 2:02 to go, and time becoming a factor for the Spurs.
Still enough time. You don't have to foul, but this is where not making threes consistently makes it a little more difficult for you here with under 2 minutes to go.
They've shot it well, but they've cooled off since the first half. Doncic knocks down the three as he's
really does everything well, stays in the moment, and has a flair for the dramatic, although unable to get that triple. If there were fans there, they would have gone crazy if he'd made that.
There are some fans in Dallas tonight. Not a full house. About half the league now has fans in. Kristaps Porzingis on 10 of 16 shooting. You know, Doncic the other night started for Team LeBron in the All-Star game. As DeRozan's down the 3. That gives DeRozan 30 on the night. Doncic didn't put up huge numbers in the win, but always a smile on his face. He loves 3rd of his career already in the books. And Dallas looking to close out their 10th win in their last 12 games.
I can tell you what, the way this season started with their inability to make those shots, those threes, but stay in the course, and now all of a sudden playing by far their best basketball of the season, chance to win their 10th out of 12 here.
His surgery back in October. There's 3 more in February because of lower back tightness. Rick Carlisle talked to us about how much he was able to work on his defense and his base during that long period where weather delayed them. Couldn't play games for about 8 days because of that storm.